typical forum meeting happens between the forum members on a predefined date, which has been acceptable to all. Dates are decided in advance. There is a regimental calendar that we put together so that people do not skip or miss a meeting. Every forum has its own constitution. You're allowed to skip 1.5, 2 meetings, depending on forum to forum. However, what happens in a forum is after you've done your updates, we'll have one of the forum facilitators dwell deeper into it. What here I'm trying to showcase is how does experience sharing happens and where does the value derive from. So let's begin with Sapna. Sapna, can you think of a peculiar problem in business that you would like to share with the forum? Of course, forum, whatever is discussed stays confidential. So I spoke to Sapna and I said, can you share a business problem that's not confidential in nature? So we're discussing on a public platform. Can you think of a particular problem?
Hi, I'm Sapna. I'll give a little background about my company.
Please do.
So we are a technical textiles manufacturing company. My husband and me, we are second generation in the business, and we joined it together 20 years ago and have been running the business since then. A few years ago, we decided to kind of professionalize the business and get professionals on board. So now we have a CEO, we have a president operations, and we have some other senior members who are all professional. And we are struggling with how to manage them, how to lead them, how to let them decide, how to give that control up and stuff like that. I mean, every company has a culture which is essentially the values of the leader, the founder, the top guy, and obviously now with so many new people on board, the biggest struggle we are having is with the culture of the company. Everybody has the same goal, but how to reach the goal, everybody has their own ways, and so how to be one voice at the top is a struggle for us right now.
Super. So the way it begins is forum member by forum member in a clockwise, anti-clockwise, random rotation. People speak if they have an experience. If they don't have an experience, it's not necessary you have an experience for everything. If somebody were to run a gynec trouble through me, I've got no experience, I promise you. But this is something that all managements have an experience. Nikhil's Polycab employs how many employees? 12,000 people. So 12,000 people management has a whole different perspective. Lara, it's about 1,200 people. So 12,000 people, 1,200 employees, and our legend out there is how many? 1,000. So 1,000 people. Now, perspectives are going to be very different, and that's the common knowledge sharing that we need to begin. Let's begin with Nikhil, and then we move to the next one. What would be your response in terms of experience sharing to Sapna?
See, I think we have a similar problem, and the way we are addressing this is very interesting because we have so many people who keep joining now, and the senior team is building. We sometimes feel people who are coming from A organization, B organization, C organization, they kind of bring that culture in. But we want Polycab's ethos, value system that was built by the founders to sort of be there. And that is where, we've realized that, run this whole value sort of program where we are going to try and instill these values. And we've also asked each professional now, say, if, they're going to come up with their next year's budget, they also need to answer how they're going to live these values. And obviously we have to live these values. Without action, nothing happens. But we've realized that, we are, how they're going to give us a whole paragraph and say that, look, this is how I'm going to instill A, B, C, D value and system, and and I think it's a perennial problem. Is what we've been seeing, but we've seen things change as much as from guys coming in from, let's say, ABCD organization. They don't take their own decisions and things like that, but we're a very entrepreneurial organization. We want guys to take those calls because we move quick, and again, that is something we've been finding a real issue with. So we've started to allow guys, hey, you know what, this is what you're allowed. Put in a sort of authority over there, bring that authority. This is what you're allowed to do, and go ahead and take those calls. So we've seen that change. We've seen guys take those decisions, and I think it takes time, but for us it's working.
So I think we've also had this problem, and this is I think a topic that we have also discussed in my forum. So what we do is we try to define roles of what the seniors will do, what we will do. We also, like Nikhil spoke about values. So values are also very important to us. So every new person that joins, we give them a little pocket booklet which has our vision and our values, and the vision and values are also put up on the walls in our companies. And we at any occasion, even HR, we are always talking about our values or whatever, in a service business. So it's client first, integrity, those sorts of things. So continuous repetition of values, vision, and having defined roles, having reviews, then whatever, monthly reviews, that sort of a thing. That's how we deal with it.
Super. That's a different perspective again. Similar on the lines what Nikhil suggested. Let's hear it from Vivek.
This is a huge problem, and I have not yet been able to solve it. I don't know if I'm ever going to solve it. I've always wanted to professionalize my organization. I've made several attempts bringing CEOs, COOs and professionals, because we all dream of having a fabulous, professionally run organization, so I can be on the golf course. But it doesn't work. It hasn't worked for me. I don't know if it's ever going to work. And I always try and spend a lot of time with the CEO after he joins, because you interview a CEO, you spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, but that's about it. Then you will select somebody and then he or she will join. So I have then after that tried to spend time so that you imbibe the ethos, imbibe your way of style and your way of working, and you hope that they'll pick it up. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I've tried my best and I failed because they don't have the passion. They'll have their own clique. They'll have their own way of working, which may not work for you. And I don't know whether they're doing it purposely. That's how different people are. I mean, each person is different. It's very, very tough. You have to be very, very lucky to be able to get a professional organization working professionally and without biases. I find a lot of biases come into a professional team in the organization that ruins the complete culture of the organization. We try and run a very open organization, but we are all open to each other. I try and explain to people that listen, anybody should be able to walk to anybody. But invariably, when some junior goes over somebody, all hell breaks loose. So it is a problem. We have to keep trying and hoping one day we succeed.
That's a good third perspective. Let me add my 2 bits as a fourth perspective. So we have an organization with about 2,000 employees, rapidly expanding on the manufacturing side, professionally managing 2 of our businesses. DLC is a new baby. I resonate with you when you say it's very difficult to get in people. I would love to have a CEO who will handle everything of DLC. Doesn't happen. Della Resorts, everything happens. I don't need to be standing there to do room bookings or managing 10,000 people who are fed a month or innumerable number of corporate events and wedding events that we do. It's completely professionalized now. So the experience sharing I would like to bring across on the table is predominantly define the culture. Hire a consultant who will work in close quarters with you, because consultants individually bring their own baggages and conditioning to the culture, and which is a very dangerous thread to tread on. Work with the consultant, define a culture, which has to be a very honest effort. Culture cannot be something that looks good on the board because it never works. There has to be honesty and truth in the culture. Once you defined it, making everybody buy into the culture, you need multiple events and offsites. That's why you can come to Della Resorts. I'm not promoting Della, but I'm just joking. Because these offsites have a huge role to play. The more amount of time these guys spend together with each other, a lot of good comes out of it. I think Nikhil touched on it, what he did in his organization. There are lots and lots of programs available with consultants. So within a forum, we would love to share consultants. If I have used Nikhil as a consultant, I can't afford him, but if I have used him as a consultant, how can I recommend him to others. And if you use somebody as a consultant who helped you to define your values and was really enthusiastic about your organization, you share those consultants. So forums become a support system because of this kind of knowledge sharing. And when your forum mate is suggesting somebody, there are no biases attached with it. There is no vested interest. So it becomes 10 people's knowledge working towards your problem. Another way to look at this problem is, if you were really doing a presentation, you would define the problem. And this was very generic, how do we professionalize the organization, right? But the best part about a forum, 9 other people are going to help you define the problem. A lot of management gurus across the world talk about this, but we take it very lightly. Because looking at a problem from a different filter, the problem suddenly starts being analyzed in a very different way. Akif might look at a problem differently. I will look at a design problem differently. Third person will look at a problem differently. Fourth, each one of us, doctor will look at a problem from a very different perspective. So each one of us, when we address the problem from a different perspective, you get to the bottom of the problem way different from where you started. So we would define the problem in a different way with each one of our experiences. He can share n number of reasons why he doesn't believe that professionalizing does not work for him, right? And there's a lot of learning from unsuccessful stories and successful stories. I always keep saying. So forum helps us to get these perspectives and dynamics into picture. There are so many people within my forum I really look up to for their sheer brilliance, knowledge. And when I go to them with a problem, I'd only thought in one direction. They suddenly add a whole different perspective and dynamic to that problem because they define with their experiences. That also teaches me that how did he think of it and I didn't think of it. It's a constant learning that happens. I'm sure you guys have some questions for how does a forum operate in the world of forums.
What really is the success behind a forum? Is it the coach? Is it the people who are in your forum? Or is it just the concept of a forum? Because we all can't be lucky to have Jimmy with us in our forum. So what actually is the success?
I think it's the people, and you have to share, like how he mentioned, you have to be vulnerable. And I think once one person takes the lead and starts sharing something more personal, then everyone starts, But I think more you give, the more you get. I think that's the foundation of a successful forum, according to me. A coach will be there the first day and will take you through 2-3 hours of training. But ultimately, for the next 10, 15, 20 years, you all are on your own.
Exactly, because it's going to be 10, 15 years. So you don't want to be stuck in the wrong room.
For me, I think it's clearly the concept. It's the concept of the forum. Right? It's just the way it's built and designed. And I think Jimmy is trying to take it to a next level because it's just designed in such a way that, you're talking about 15 years, right? I mean, it took me 5 years to even get vulnerable, honestly, right? To even open up a little bit more and more and more. Like I said, right? It's that onion that just keeps peeling and peeling and peeling. And every time you think that, you've been your vulnerable most, you can actually take a step further. So it's just the way the concept is designed. It's non-judgmental. You just can't speak outside. It's such a safe space, and it's, your trust in the forum just keeps on going up and going up and going up, and that's where the whole game just changes.
There are enough icebreakers that are there within a forum. In fact, each time you start a forum meeting with an icebreaker to quickly get you into that mood.
And interestingly, you'll be with so many different kind of people, right? So there will be someone who will be, wanting to break the ice.
No matter what forum, to answer your question, how do you know that you're in the right forum and you have the right people? You can never be in the right forum or have the right people. No way. I mean, look around you. Even in your family, do you have the right family? Is your brother like you? Is your sister like you? Are you like your dad? Is your kids like? We are not. We're all different. Some are good, some are opposite. That's how the forum is, and that's the value add. You will always find in a forum of 10, I wonder, why are these 3 guys in my forum? Can I get rid of them? I actually want to do that, but you can't get rid of them. But they'll bring their value to what, the way they are. But forum generally doesn't encourage socializing, but in YPO, a forum has become like a socializing club. I have not done that. For me, the forum is the forum. When I leave the forum, I have my own social life outside of the forum, and I keep it at that. And that's what it originally started with, but that is not what it is, because when you meet every month and you are sharing everything with your forum, you automatically become very close. It tend to become a clique. You go to a party and you go and look for your forum members. I have personally avoided that, though every forum does that. Every forum member will look for their forum member and they are the buddies for life. For me, a forum must remain in the forum. So if you join a DLC forum, you'll get TLC.
Let me give you my perspective. So to answer you and you, a forum takes a good 3 to 4 years to even come out of its infancy stage. Maturity is far away and deep diving is even far away. So it's not a quick fix solution. It's not something you join today and tomorrow you get value. Don't even think of it that way. Also, like Lara said, you get what you give. So if you do not give, you do not get. So till the time you are not ready to be vulnerable yourself, the across people will also not be vulnerable. You start showing vulnerability and then you realize you have nothing to lose. I mean, at the end of the day, how bad can we be, right? You can be bad as bad. But that's also, there's a line to it. And you start realizing, why should I share with my forum? So I have no shame to accept something that I've done wrong with my forum. Like they said, it's going to be non-judgmental, hopefully. Again, it takes time to be non-judgmental. It is not overnight. Not sharing. There are so many times I come home and I have to say something about somebody. I open my mouth and I keep shut again. I even leave that sentence halfway. Because anything that's going to lead into a conversation beyond, I'm not supposed to. So the best is teach yourself where to shut your trap. There is no pillow talk allowed. So if you can take it so seriously, your forum mates will take it equally seriously. You take it loosely and you go and say, oh, this one's wife is pregnant or this one is having an affair. Listen, it doesn't work, because then somebody else is going to do the same to you. Or your stock, you're going to go public, or you're going to go into an equity, or your equity is not working out, your debts have gone up, whatever you discuss. So vulnerability is up to you. Forum takes time to set up. Like what he said, a forum will never have everybody you like, and good, it should be that way. Also, it should never be all heavyweights or all lightweights. Forum has to have diversity. We as a forum decided it's going to be an all male forum, but you can have diversity. A woman comes with her own perspective. There are so many mixed forums, but again, one needs to learn the art of not working by exception, but by inclusion. So if 8 people in the forum say something, I'm always the one to add yes. Doesn't mean I'm a yes man, but for me, it's very important to be with my forum. Unlike Vivek, I also look for my forum mates whenever I go to a party or an event. If they are there, we are a clique, we are going to be together. It doesn't happen because you're looking forward to it, because you're so close emotionally in a way. Right, automatically that relationship, that bonding is so true, and it's unlike friendship and hello, hi, how are you? It's not a fake relationship. The person is invested. Something happens to Nikhil, I'm invested in him. Something happens to me, he's invested in me. And when forum facilitators talk, the deeper forums look out for families. There are cases where families have settled wills. Forums have willed it to their forum members to make sure that the family is taken care of. Because who else in the world will selflessly take care of your interests? It's a forum. It takes years and years to develop. Lots of icebreakers. It's not that if you are in a forum for 15 years, there's nothing new to learn. Each time there's something new to learn. But that's the beauty of the structure, what Nikhil said. The structure of the forum is so beautiful that if you just remain true to the ethos of the forum, you will keep deriving value from it. Anyway, thanks a lot for having all of you with us. And I'm sure they deserve a loud round of applause.